Hey, you're back in the garage with TheEZGZ. I want to thank all my subscribers and the folks that commented on my last video about how much this little project car weighed. I drove it across the scales. I had somebody else doing the video, and the sun was not in the best place. You can see it if you've probably got a big screen TV and you can freeze it. You might be able to see it, but it came out exactly 1,100 pounds with me in the car. Okay, and I weigh 150 pounds. So if I'm doing my math right, this rig rolling under its own power was 950 pounds. I still have quite a bit to do to the car. I still have some more welding to do, but I think all the main pieces are there. And the purpose of this, one of the purposes of this car, was to facilitate testing transmissions. This is a stock sedan IRS transmission, and it works just dandy. And I had no tags or anything on it to tell me that, and I don't think I do enough transmission work to just be able to take one apart and look at a worn transmission and put it back together and have it all change. There's so many things about a transmission. It grinds when it goes into maybe second gear. It pops out of fourth gear. It pops out of reverse. There's so many things that you can, you know, people that do this for a living are better skilled at it, and usually they give you a warranty, but there's quite a bit of time investment, and they have lifts and they have solvent tanks and they have parts and things handy. It doesn't take them all that long to do a transmission overhaul, and parts are getting, good quality parts are getting harder and harder to find. These transmissions, you know, after all, they're 50 years old, and you don't know how they've been treated. Best way is, you know, if you're getting in on the cheap end, probably the car doesn't even run. So there's really, unless there's really something obvious, it's really hard to tell. I'm just looking at these transmissions on the floor, and this tells me that it's a long axle, that it came out of a Type 3. This one is looking like it is a stock, I'm going to call it a short axle, and I'm looking at the space between the housing right here, as well as how much of the spline is showing right here. The next one looks to be, I remember that case. That came out of my sand car. I've been into it 3 times. I can't get it into third gear when it's running. I hope to freshen up my skills and solve that problem here real soon. I want to start with this transmission, get it out of the way. Obviously, these transmissions are a trip hazard. I've got 16 transmissions that I need to work on here. They're just all over. Here's a couple here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's one over there. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, you might as well count the one that's in the car, because that was 15. and it would make sense to probably test another IRS transmission, because it's so much easier. You don't have to take the axles and the brakes and trailing arms. You don't even need, you take a jack, get your engine out of the way, and with it sitting on its tires and wheels, you can change out the transmission. That's the beauty of this, and why I left the frame horns on. So there you have it. Those are all swing axle transmissions over there on the bench. I think there's a couple sitting underneath some other parts here too, but I want to get this cleaned up. It might be a while before I get rolling on these videos and this work because I didn't plan it right. Springtime is here. It's time to do yard work. I want to get some of these trees trimmed down before they leaf out. It's just more work. Got to get the sprinkler system on. Got to deal with weeds and you know, right now it is just perfect. Praise God. Look over there. Our lake has got water in it, which isn't always the case this early in the year. I'm just tickled to death to see that. I love to sit here and it just calms me down. It's really nice. And the bugs aren't out yet, but they're coming. They're coming. They're coming to get you. So, at any rate, thanks for leaving the comments, and I hope you had as much fun looking at other people's comments. And I sent everybody a heart just to acknowledge the fact that I read your comment, okay? I didn't want to put the weight to tell you how close you were because other people reading the comments, that, you know, I just wanted to see how close they were guessing. And I was off. It weighs a little more than I want it to, and we should drop some weight when we go to these swing axle setups because it doesn't have that diagonal trailing arm and the CV joints and double bearings on the end. This is a very popular transmission for racers because it's all about power to weight ratio. These are very strong and they're lighter than an IRS. There's some guys that race with a bus transmission, and there's people that do all kinds of things, right? But these are not to be overlooked or thought of as bad transmissions. There are kits out there, and there are people that have made a swing axle torsion assembly, welded the other piece in there, got the different spring plates and components that they needed to convert a swing axle to an IRS. Now, if you look at this from the back, you can see how the wheels are kind of canted in. Some of that comes from the factory. You can adjust the toe in and toe out. This is one of those cars that had fully independent suspension. Yeah. You can adjust the caster, camber, and toe in on the car. This one is also canted in slightly. And if you look at the space between the rubber snubber on both sides, there's more space on this side. So that means I need to adjust my torsion bar a little bit to correct that. And I'll show you how to do that in another video in the future when I get to that point, okay? So you compare that to the Baja, and it's sitting at an angle. To me, it looks like it's towed in slightly. These are 10-inch wheels, and that's something you can take into consideration too. When you use a wider than stock wheel, a stock wheel is a little over 4 inches, some metric number. The farther you get it out, the more stress it puts on the bushings and components in it. It just magnifies the problem that you already have. Everything's been replaced on the Baja. Trailing arms, I've straightened the frame. I still need to put a different front end on it. And I've had this car for going on 15 years or something. I don't know, at least 10. I can't remember what number plate that I'm on, but they're 5 years at a time when you get the collector plate. And yeah, there's always something that needs to be done. And I've got way too many cars. 1, 2, another one in the trailer, another one around the corner, and another one at my girlfriend's house. So that's 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh. I got too many. And I don't need all these transmissions. I need a spare or 2 or 3, but I don't need 15 of them.
Stop barley.
Head out and have some fun. But wait! There's more! I need a burrito. That's what I need.